Oh, heck. Oh, my goodness. We have the situation where we have no, oh man, I hate it when this happens. Okay, so that means, yeah, that means we have no sound. Okay. And you guys don't get to hear the swoosh either, do you? Wow. Boy, that was janky as hell. No music, no swoosh, no nothing, man. Did you see that? Can you hear me? Yeah, we're on. Our music didn't play. No music, no swoosh, no nothing. Wow, that sucked. Here, let me turn this off real quick. You guys will lose my picture for a half a second. Hold on here. You still have my voice? Can you still hear me?
You're good, bro. You're good.
Hi, I'm Black Dragon, and welcome to another edition of the Black Dragon Roundtable. And it's always a pleasure to have you guys, even when the equipment isn't working. So we're going to bring the equipment back up and see if it works. Why don't you take just a moment to introduce yourself? We got our good brother OG Weasel. Weasel, I got to put the mic down for a minute, so you just go over and introduce.
Yeah, he just put me on the spot again. The show didn't even start yet, man.
He's just janky, man.
Yeah. It's all good, man. Anyway, it's all you just got to know how to adapt to these unexpected challenges. Anyway, my name's OG Weasel from Jersey. I've been in the lifestyle about 30, 33, 35 years, something like that. You know, I've been all over the place, different states, shaking different hands and hugging different necks. So definitely, pleasure to be on the show with brothers like Black Dragon and with people that take an interest in really, just the culture in general. A lot of us, we don't realize that, this is something that we're doing that needs to be passed on. So the thing is, if we, are not taking this seriously and not really, living the lifestyle where we're supposed to, what are we passing on? We're going to be passing on, to the legacy. We're going to be passing on garbage, man. So I just want y'all to think about, when you're wearing that patch and everything else, what are you representing? One, two, why are you here? And three, what are you going to bring to the table? That's just something I think we all should think about. Going back like 20 or 30 years ago, I remember, being introduced, always being around bikes and, of course, the family situations and other things. But just when I first got introduced to the set, I just remember, coming to it and I just took it personal. I took ownership of it at a young age, and to me, it meant something to be around the culture, especially when you would go to a clubhouse and you couldn't get into that clubhouse unless you had that card, that little, this is a friend of the club, that little card that we probably, some of y'all remember those cards. That's back when it was, when we was really biking back in the days and you couldn't just walk up in the clubhouse. So, thinking back then, just how it was and, my approach and what I felt during that time, it was a sense of pride because I was like, yo, man, like this is something special right here. I mean, I get to ride and I get to come behind that door, that private door, and be with some like-minded bros. So I kind of I had a respect for that. I had a respect for that. And I had a respect for every brother that was in that room that wore patches and every biker and every bike that was outside. To me, that meant something. So it was like, you know what? If you're going to do this, you got to live it the way you was taught it and for what it really is. So the thing is, if you out there, just try to embrace the culture for what it is. We don't need all your extra stuff that people are bringing to the set these days. So it's just kind of think about, having some form of ownership, because each and every one of us, if you're in a club, especially if you're in leadership, you don't realize the impact that you're having on your club and the next brother, because you got prospects there, you got those next, hopefully upcoming leaders in the club and everything else. And even if your current leadership is weak, be strong enough as a brother to stand up and say, you know what? This ain't right, but what can I do to make it right? Versus you just leaving the situation. All right, that's enough for me, Black Dragon, man. I can talk about 6 years on this straight, man. So I'm gonna let you go ahead. You're gonna get on target here and do what you gotta do. I see my yeah. And what's up, everybody? I see the chat going on. So I was just with my man Bear yesterday. Yesterday, actually, we was that was a rare breed bear out of the bear I think that's the Delaware chapter. I want to say Delaware chapter, man. I was out on the road and ran into the good brothers from Red Breed. So it was definitely a pleasure seeing the brothers, man, to see how people are really taking this serious. So my lit off to the Red Breed chapter out in Delaware.
Well, we got our sound back, so that's really cool. I can actually have some. I think we got our sound back. Let me see if I got the swoosh. Hold on. Yeah.
Ooh-wee.
Whoosh. Okay. Hey, I'm Black Dragon, and we appreciate you all for tuning in to the Black Dragon Roundtable. Hopefully, we've got Bone and those guys coming on here in a few minutes. But I was just over on Bone's channel from the big Boneyard, and most of you guys were over there too. So we're just continuing on. And they brought up some stuff. They were talking about some stuff, outlaws and laws and that sort of thing. And it was really cool because one of the things they brought up was why do we have so many rules in motorcycle clubs, especially motorcycle clubs are supposed to be so free, and bikers are supposed to be free, and everyone says that bikers are free and yada yada yada, but in reality, we find that as clubbers, we're not nearly so free. And I tell people all the time, as I said on Bones thing, that bikers are free, but clubbers are not. And all clubbers are bikers, but not all bikers are clubbers. And
absolutely.
When you're in an MC, you're a biker that's in a club, and you damn well better believe you're going to be part of an organization that has rules. There's going to be group think, group reactions, all of these things that come with being in a group. And there's no I, and there's no my, and there's no me. There's no my, I, me. There's we. There's only we. And the idea that no, we're free and we're heathens, and like that was if you remember, that was the movie Easy Rider.
Yeah.
We're completely free, but a lot of folks mix those up with like clubbers, and those two guys were not in a club. They didn't ride in a club. They didn't hang out in a club. Had they been in a club, they wouldn't have got shot up like they did in the end.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They'd have had enough brothers around to handle that business. They were two lone wolves out there, and they got handled because of such. When you're in a bike club and you're rolling, ain't too many people fixing to handle you like that. But to have all those alpha males together in one group means that there's going to be competition. There's going to be sparring, saber rattling, all the things that come with alpha men shaking their bones at alpha men. And so you got to have a whole lot of rules. You got to have a whole lot. Mike Ball says clubbers believe in freedom, no doubt, but we understand the importance of structure. And you got to have a bunch of rules to keep the structure in place and to keep alpha men, because when you get a bunch of alpha men together, some of those alpha men are invariably going to become betas. You would be an alpha everywhere, anywhere else. You'd be an alpha. Hey, I tell you what, an earthquake comes, a hole opens up in the middle of the city, people start falling in it. A biker, alpha male is going to jump off his motorcycle and take control of the scene. You're going to be an alpha everywhere you are. It's going to be like you stayed in a Holiday Inn Express last night, like somebody's on the side of the road dying. You're going to roll up and know what to do. But when you get all those alphas together, all of a sudden, somebody takes the leadership role. Somebody rises to the top, and other people. So you might have an alpha at 100, the alpha at 99 is going to be not as up as he is. Then you got an alpha at 98, 97, 96, two alphas at 95. So this is what happens. And so to keep all of these alphas in line without being a bunch of bulls in china shops and slitting each other's throats, and this doesn't always work. But MC protocol is you have two kinds of MC protocol. You have external protocol and internal protocol. So internal protocol keeps the alignment up of hardcore brothers within the club. Honor and respect, Yvette. External protocol keeps honor and respect and civility between alpha male clubs. And so you might see in the spectrum 1%ers, outlaws, traditional clubs, family clubs, and it kind of takes its thing. And so we have these protocols that really, if they are followed, we keep each other safe. If the protocols are followed, we hang out well with one another. We can coexist peacefully. It's when they're not followed that you see this stuff that happens out there.
Absolutely.
When the respect is not followed. That thing. Also, the idea that every man is capable of incredible violence. Every man is capable of doing whatever it takes to survive or whatever. If you think about men move mountains. Men dig tunnels into mountains. Men go underneath oceans. They go to outer space. So any kind of a male that you have is capable of doing things. So it is the rules and the protocols, and that's what they were talking about. Man, you're making a lot of noise over there. Is that you?
My bad, man. Yeah, I just get myself together on the down low, but don't tell nobody, man.
Swish and
I know, man.
You don't even have a swoosh, but you're swishing right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be okay. But listen, this one thing you said, man, I like that. You said, bikers kind of like have a different path and a different mindset, and they live more of more of a renegade, nomadic type of lifestyle. But hopefully, most bikers are coming to the patch as bikers, because we know in some cases that we have some clubs where riders come to the clubs and they finally made bikers. You get what I'm saying? So it's kind of like there's two different types of bikers. But on the alpha male side of things, he was talking about, well, what do you do when you have a pack of alphas? And if we think about it, what's happening is that protocol, creates the platform that the alphas have to comply by. So in order for you to be part of these brotherhoods, as alpha as you may be it a 99 or a 1, the bottom line is you're going to have to fall into place and conform on in order to be embraced on that platform. So, it's kind of like what Bone was saying on this show is that, what happens when bros can't, respect what's expected of them as a brother, in a patch situation, and you can't always be a defiant brother and expect to be embraced by the club.
Man, absolutely. So what I wanted to talk about tonight, as I was listening to them, one of the guys that they had visiting, I guess he was from the other side of the pond, was hitting them with question after question after question. And one of the things he was talking about is when the clubs click up. And they didn't get a chance to really explore that a lot because they were still on their channel. And I had to break and come here. And so that's what I did. But I thought, well, heck, man, I'm going to change tonight's topic and talk about that. When the club clicks up, how to deal with cliques in the motorcycle club. And man, cliques, clickety click, click, clicks. Man, motorcycle clubs, churches, everything that we do, people can't seem to stay on the major track. They can't stay with what's happening. People have to click off in little subgroups, and these subgroups often tend to be political pieces of hellfire, whether it's in the church among the ushers, or the deacon board, or the single women, or the married women, whatever the case may be. These cliques take over, and they can be hell on a motorcycle club or any other organization. And at the least, they can leave people broken, disheartened, disillusioned, leaving the club, quitting the club at the least. At the worst, they can cause club splits, half of the club walking away. I've seen it all. The founder taking the name back away from the club.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to talk about, especially if you have a big club or an old club. If you have a big club or an old club or a big old club, you're going to have this split thing happen to you. Some clubs more than once. And I wanted to talk about some of the things that can be done to combat that, because we know it's coming. And I wanted to discuss that with you, because you know the club life, so you've seen these things before.
Yeah, so, you over time you'll see a little bit of everything, and you'll hear the stories. You'll meet the bros, and you'll know the situations. So, and know what's funny, man? It's a pattern. Like this whole lifestyle of ours, it's like Harleys. Harleys, you'll go through the phase where it's about the chrome, and then that chrome comes in and everybody's on it. Then we'll get the black, the all blacked out thing going on, murder thing. Then we'll go back to the chrome. So everything we're seeing that's happening today, man, this is the same thing that's been happening for years, but it's just a little, it's just a little expanded now. You've seen a little bit more color on what's happening on the set. So it's a little bit more obvious about these brothers but we're going to talk about that. We're definitely going to talk about that.
I want to take a moment to say happy birthday to Mike Ball's old lady. I think he said it's her birthday tonight, so happy birthday. We want to wish her a happy birthday. And wait.
Oh, no, not the song, bro.
I had to. So we hope she has a angelic happy birthday tonight. So, oh my goodness. So the biggest thing I want to talk about is how to combat the cliques as they come. So one of the first things you see in when clubs start to click up is a lot of times it's quite it's like innocuous. It doesn't start off as a bad thing. In my club at one time we had this group called the Wrecking Crew. And they were a group of cats that all came in and prospected at the same time. And they were very, very, very tight, the Wrecking Crew. So you could have something like that, just a group of guys in the club that come in, like maybe all prospect together, all on the same line together, and they build this bond between them that's a tighter bond than they have with the brothers in the club. In fact, 20 years after the Wrecking Crew, the original Wrecking Crew in San Diego, the Houston chapter had a bunch of hard driving guys that we called the Wrecking Crew in honor of the original Wrecking Crew. And so these cliques can start off as just really groups of guys or gals that are really cool together. And so how can that turn bad? It turns bad when they start trying to move the club in a direction that follows the agenda of that clique. That's how they turn bad. They turn bad when they start trying to do favors for one another or hold each other up, especially in their wrong, or snatch the club or snatch the agenda of the club or move the votes of the club. and that's one of the things that the club has to steer away from when when the club sees it happening. What are your 2 cents on that?
I mean, definitely, you can't avoid bonds. I mean, like you said, when you prospect with a brother, it's different. It's just like anything else. When you go through the same trials and tribulations, like you're going to naturally have something in common. When you got things in common, it's easy for you to gravitate to that person, especially when you're new to the club. Like you're trying to establish yourself, you know. So it's like if that brother you are going through, y'all talking about that whole prospecting phase and y'all constantly in contact, you know. So when you finally get patched up, you know, naturally you're going to feel comfortable dealing with that brother. So that's going to be your man, so to speak, even though you're going to be part of the same patch. It's just something unique about that friendship because y'all came through the door the same way. And it's just like, you know, we do it all the time. We don't realize it. Is that, you know, you got a brother that rides a road glide and all of a sudden all the road glides want to rock together, you know. So it's just we as people, we gravitate to commons and when it comes to different things. So, you know, you just have to know how to regulate that to realize that common versus the bigger picture. There's a difference. So as long as you're a focused brother and you're not weak-minded and, you know, easy to be influenced, you know, I don't see any disconnects. But, you know, a lot of times we let those comments get a little bit too away from the brotherhood because now we start to, you know, talk about things we see and those conversations sometimes kind of go left field. So you just got to be able to watch and detect. You know, when you see poison in your club or if you see a brother kind of taking you down that avenue, then, you know, you got to be smart to be like, listen, bro, like, yeah, I respect what you're saying, but I really don't want to hear that. Like, you got to stop that at the gate. But we're going to dissect this whole thing. So, you know, whenever you want to jump into the basis of this topic, you know, we can really build on it and just kind of, you know, like introduce the actual what's happening and why and what you could do to combat it. So the way I look at it is that we got to think about this. Did you ever wonder why we have so many clubs? Like, especially like, let's look at Jersey, New York, or whatever it is. Like, there's a reason for that because it's not a need to have 100 clubs in one state. It's nice to have that flavor, but you got to wonder, why do we have so many clubs today? You know, if you look around, you got old school clubs in every area. You're going to be able to find an old school club within 50 miles. You're going to have a koi club. You're going to have a diamond club, even if you're not ready for the diamond club. My point is those options are there. So it's kind of like, where are these clubs coming from? And part of that is going back to this whole topic here is that, you know, a lot of these are splinter clubs or just from people who just had to do their own thing, that couldn't conform or couldn't understand or relate to the leadership or just be patient to wait. Say, you know what? Well, I can't deal with this president right now in this situation. Let me just wait and let me run for that peace spot next time around. You know, but this is just, no, this is a sign, you know, that this is a sign that your brotherhood is being tested. When you got brothers in there and they come into the table, you know, and they starting that banter, like you got to see this, you know, and every club is going to have, every club, trust you, I don't care if you're on the one side, 99, 48 side, whatever you want to call it, every club is going to have that brother in it. And the thing is, you got to be able to see those signs. You got to really be able to, you're not even looking for it. You just kind of like the energy that the brother's bringing to the table, man. Like you'll see that he's in church and he's going to be the one that's going to be challenging in leadership or he's going to be kind of like in the meetings and stuff and looking to you for validation or always disgruntled about something. Like, these are the little signs that you say, you know what, this is something that we got to look at, you know. And what he's looking to do, he's looking because he wants somebody else to understand his gripes. So even though if you ain't that brother, what he's doing, he's slowly bringing you to that other side of the table. And there we go. There's one brother, two brothers, and now before you know it, y'all three in a corner having your own. We all know about it, the side clubs within the clubs, you know, and it's not a good look for you as a brother. If you're the one that's doing it, then you know what? It probably would be best that you just leave the patch. If it's that bad, then you got to make a decision. Listen, is this patch for me? You know, and at the same time, if you're a brother that's hearing that story or you being pulled to the side, well, you need to be strong enough to come to your leadership and go, listen, this is what's happening, man. You know, and you got to determine what's more important in the situation. Is it the friendship with that brother or is it the longevity of your patch? Because like you said, Dragon, these brothers, sometimes it may be the founder that, you know, that's leading the show. Then he steps down and comes back up and all of a sudden he's upset. I mean, then he goes, yo, this is my club. You know, we all know the cat that got to let you know that he got the founder patch right here across his chest. We always, ain't nothing wrong with the founder patch. But some people, like, that means a lot to them. They can't live without that founder patch. So they're going to let you know. like this is my club and I'll take it. Well, you know what? Like, once again, people like that, you will pick up on these little signs because it's going to be obvious who the poison is in your club. But you got to get that to the table and think about the longevity of that patch. And if you're not smart enough to see these signs, then maybe that's the challenge of who you are as a patch member, to say, you know what? Like, how did I end up in a corner with this brother and with this energy? So it's just something to think about.
Well, you know, I think that you bring such a amazing clarification here, because if you're clicking, you ain't clubbing. If you're clicking, you're not interested in the longevity of the MC, because a click is like a tick. It sucks until it busts. Man, I'm just rhyming all over the place tonight. I wasn't trying to.
All right.
I'm ready to start rapping. I need to go play my numbers real quick. But you, if you're thinking about the longevity of the club, you know that you're endangering the club. So one of the things to do is not participate, especially in a clique that starts to become negative. And it is to bring things to the table. One of the things that cliques are most famous for is that sidebar conversation. You know, I first learned of the term sidebar in 1995 or so, when the O.J. Simpson trial was going on. So I'm watching the trial, and I mean, I watched every minute of the trial. I felt like I was a juror my damn self. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit. I mean, that was a seminal moment when he tried to put that glove on. I watched the whole thing, and every now and then, well, more than every now and then, the judge would say sidebar, and they would turn the camera to face the clock or some dumb stuff, and you felt immediately like left out. Like, how can I know what's going on in this trial and how I should be judging if there's a certain group, a little clique, that gets to go to the sidebar and talk about stuff the rest of us don't know? And some of it is supposed to be for the good of the jury and blah, blah, blah. And you're not even trying to hear that mess. I want to know everything that's going on. I'm part of the organization here. The televisions have been led into court, and here they are over at a sidebar. And that's the first time I ever heard or learned of the term sidebar, and I immediately didn't like it. I don't like sidebars because people are talking about a conversation that has to do with you and the court, but only they are privy to hear it. Maybe it's the judge and the attorneys discussing some point of law, but they could be discussing something nefarious as well.
Yeah.
And you would never know it. So sidebars in the motorcycle club, they are just, to me, as devastating as being like sitting out in the jury pool or sitting, being the witness or even being the accused. And you're sitting there and they're over there whispering. Like, what the F are they talking about? Mm-hmm. And it's a way to feel very excluded. It's an exclusionary tactic.
Yeah.
So when you are sidebarring, you have the club meeting, that's called church, and you wanted to talk negative about a brother and put him down or convince people not to listen to the president or whatever, but you don't have the gonads to come out and talk about it in church. You got to take your ass over to the sidebar and call everybody up that's in your clique, and then try to get together a posse, a group of approvers. So now you can come back, now emboldened by this little mutiny you got going on. And as a senior club brother, I always move to stop that BS whenever I see it. Hey, man, don't sidebar me. One of the ways, and we want to talk about effective ways to shut that down, is whenever you hear somebody talking negative about a brother and he's not there to defend himself, say, hold on a second. Give me a chance. Hold on. Let me call that brother up. Woo! You my bro.
Yeah.
You shut it down. Well, I don't have to hear him. I don't have to hear Black Dragon's opinion. Well, no, but you're talking about Black Dragon. So, what do you mean you don't have to hear his opinion? Is it fair that we only hear one side? Well, we already know what kind of guy that guy is. We don't have to. We don't have to listen to him. So I move always very quickly to move your ass off the click. If you're talking, because now you said this was your brother. Now, yeah, this is your brother. You wear that same back patch, so you don't have to like your brother, but you do have to love your family. And if you love your family, you're going to take care of what makes the family be healthy. And that is respecting and taking care of and protecting all of your brothers in that family in order to make the family whole, whether you like that brother or not.
Absolutely. You know what? And just, I mean, something to think about. You got to really sit back. Every time you put those rags on, or whenever you're in that club line or at the house, you got to think about, what does brotherhood mean to you? Because this all goes back, this ties back to brotherhood. I mean, really true brotherhood, pure brotherhood. And we just lose focus of, what that one word means, that one powerful word, that one word that we hear over and over from every mouth that's on the set. And the thing is, when it comes to, like you said, Black Dragon, it's about, validation. They trying to get buy-in, and it's disgusting, bro. I'm gonna tell you, man. Like I'm not even. I haven't been the brother to hear it, and I'm just saying it's actually sad that brothers in the club would even think about doing that. But I mean, I think that your job as a brother is to be strong enough to be strong. And when I say that, like you said, Black Dragon, is to like to challenge those brothers. Because if a brother like that, he's already showing that he has a problem. So you know what? What's wrong with you asking that brother, like, what is the real issue? And the bigger question is, ask him then, well, you know what? Well, if it's so bad, man, like, why are you still here? Why are you still here? Like, obviously these brothers are there for something, so they're looking for something. And to be honest, if you coming to me with all the nonsense, man, I'm thinking that you're looking at me as a wicked brother, because this is who's going to entertain these conversations. It's going to be bros that's not going to have no opinion. They're going to sit down and let you talk to them, and they ain't going to come back at you. They're not going to challenge you. So I'm looking at that. If you coming to me on some rah rah, like, I'm thinking you disrespecting me. Like, I'm going to sit here and hit this BS, man. So if somebody's coming to you, you need to look back at this brother and be like, listen, man, like, who this cat think I am? That's something to think about too.
And I would even entertain this nonsense. Yeah,
absolutely. But the sounds will, like I said before, the signs are going to be there, and what you're going to see normally, it doesn't come out the gate. It's a buildup. It's those one or two slick comments. Then it's that, yo, man, I ain't going to the mandatory, man. F them nigga, F them. And it's like, there's little things that you'll start to see, man. It's like, yo, it ain't that serious. And you'll start seeing these little references. And those are signs that, you know what, here comes the poison. Here comes the poison. So the thing is, like, what are you going to do about it? And you have to think about this. This goes back to why we're seeing so many failed clubs, even with the Splinter Club. I love this. My favorite club fail is the Splinter Club, because normally you're going to see this like in a larger club, because you're going to have those clubs that come out and they hot. Everybody want to be part of the hotness. Then everything's good for 1 year. Then here comes that sidebar, like you said, Bragging, and they starting to do it. Then there they go. They got the better idea, the good idea for the better club. And then they splinter off, and then you go once again. The Splinter Club is now a failed club. And it's the longevity of that. They don't last, man. And that's the thing about it. If you entertaining that brother in the corner and you one of those people that patch jumped just to go to some new freshness, then it's just a matter of time. Like, these clubs do not last, because you got to realize, where did that club come from? That foundation of the club, like, it came off of some frickery. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, if you gravitate into the BS, it's always going to be BS.
Man, I want to acknowledge the retired national vice president of the Mighty Black Sabbath Motorcycle Club Nation, Brother Hollywood. It's good to see you. I hope you're enjoying your retirement. He said sidebars are no good. If you can't say what was needed in the meeting, don't call me. Let's call for another meeting. And I can tell you, he was a lot like that when he was running the club, because the bottom line is, if your brother is not there to defend himself, then there is an unfair and unequal, unbalanced thing going on. So when one clique is against another, or when one group of brothers is trying to come up and destroy another, you see all kinds of things happening. You'll see stuff like guys bring their women into the club, and they will try to get their women a special position or something among the women's group in the club. And all of a sudden now, because you are the VP, your wife needs to be over the support group, or whatever the case may be. And they start to maneuver the rules such that now the wifey is going to be over there because you've maneuvered the rules such that the fair vote doesn't happen. You can always see the BS come when they start maneuvering the voting. When they start making new voting rules, rules about who can vote, who cannot vote, when the vote's going to be, how the vote. If we've all been voting by a show of hands, and now all of a sudden they want to have a secret ballot. You know, whenever somebody comes in with a wise, cool voting change, you can always tell the effery is moving about in the underbrush trying to get started.
Valid points.
Watch for the voting changes.
Valid points, man. The sway. But you know what? You got to ask yourself too, man. Like, what's worse? You know, you got that one brother. What's worse? Meaning that, would you rather look bad in that brother's eyes, or look bad in the eyes of the club? I'd rather lose one friend or one generic mofo and still be with the real brothers. You know, like, he's expendable. If he's already doing that to the club, first of all, he shouldn't even be there. So he's expendable. So you got to think about this, man. This is why you have church. You know, church is that platform that, you know, you got the regular business, man, but there should be a time that is open forum. If you got any gripes, that's the time you bring it to the table. And I'm telling you, man, I've seen times that back in the days, man, we used to be the church. And when I say cursing matches and almost going to blows, but it was like, you know what? The stuff needed to be aired out. And I think about it now. It's like, you know what? I thought, I hate this mall, but I respect the people who had opinions that brought them to the table versus sitting there sucking it up and kind of walking away from the table disgruntled. You know, that's your opportunity. Church is like, it's not just about, okay, well, what does the treasury report have and this and that. It's about what's really happening. Part of it is about what's really happening in the club and what can we do to maintain the brotherhood. So that is your time to shine. If there's an issue, or if, like I said, there's something that's bothering you, man, bring it to the table. I'd rather have a clean heart than a dirty mind. You get what I'm saying, Dragon?
Amen.
So it's just, you know, and you got to have a focus. It's like, listen, what is the focus? Is it your personal emotions, or is it going to be the patch? And the patch is going to be there. So you can be disgruntled all you want. At the end of the day, the club is going to, the set moves on and the club will move on without you. And you'll be like, man, I don't need this, man. Well, deuces. And the club will keep moving, man. It doesn't stop. Nobody's indispensable, no matter who you are. And if you're that founder and you got that founder patch and you holding that over the club, then shame on you, man, for being that selfish and disrespectful to the culture.
I have seen very interesting things come out of founders. But I've also seen the club do interesting things to founders. Man, where does it occur? And one of my club brothers said this the other day, in a bit of frustration. He said, where has this culture of writing brothers up and fining them and stripping them of their patches and putting them on suspension, where does this culture come from? It used to be that you reserve those sorts of things for like the most atrocious crimes. Like you weren't writing your bros up. You weren't putting them on trial. Every time you turn around, you're trying to put a brother on trial and take his cut or some old kind of craziness. Like, where did that come from? Like, we have become so litigious in the MC. Like, you got to run around with your bylaws in your hand. Like you got to run around with your bylaws in your hand and break them down and throw them down. Like everybody in the court's an attorney now. Everybody in the club's an attorney now. Everybody's a club court magistrate mofo. And the ones that really crack me up is you will jump bad on your brothers and not jump bad on somebody in another club trying to mess with you. Like, for instance, I see these cats. I mean, like, so you did all that to your club brother, but the other day you guys were at the pump. The 1%ers came up and you were shaking in your boots. Like, you ain't really all that bad. We saw how bad you were when we went over and hung out here with the brothers over there, and you were over there shaking in your boots, afraid to get out on the dance floor and dance. But you're gonna go beat your brother up. Like, man, stop it. Like, what's wrong with you people? I just see the baddest dudes flex up the hardest against their club brothers, you know? And it's sad. What should happen is when you see a brother flex up on a brother, especially when you see the young bros want to flex up on the older cats. Every brother in the club should be in the old days. Every brother in the club would be like, "Yo, bro, check yourself. Mm-hmm. You just got here. You know, you still got a few years to do some contributing before you get to a point where you have contributed as much as that dude over there. So why are you talking crazy out your mouth to him?" Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This lends towards the destruction of the MC. Listen, life is set up that juniors are inexperienced and elders are experienced. Now, elders must respect juniors and as well, but juniors must respect elders. And among these cultures, it's more and more me, I know everything. It destroys the MC.
Yeah, I definitely. I see where you're going with it, and I understand, man. It's just, once again, it's just the reality of what's happening. But you just got to think about ways that you can really combat that. The thing is that, as a club member, if you're seeing this, you have to ask yourself, like, why do we still have this brother here? And your bylaws somehow, to protect the club, you should have something in place to combat this poison. And I mean, be it a vote or whatever it is, like, he needs to be brought to the table, like it or not. Like, you need to address this as soon as you can. And you can say what you want to say. I would say more than half of the clubs out there is going to have somebody that shouldn't be in that club, and that's just still there. And I still don't understand why that happens. But because you know why? Because brotherhood is not guaranteed. You know what I'm saying? You're not guaranteed to maintain that patch of life for life. Just because you was able to survive 3 parties and got your patch, doesn't mean you have to keep that patch, man. That's a privilege to have that patch on your back. So, and the thing is, a lot of people just don't respect that privilege. And if you're going to sit there and badmouth your club or be exposed to that, continue not to. I mean, we all have a bad day, we'll say some slick stuff in the moment, and that's okay, because that's what we do as people. But when that pattern starts to come into play, then that's when that situation needs to become questionable. So I don't know. My thing is, man, it's just that no situation that you should be in should allow you to continually have that type of approach towards your patch and towards your brothers, and to the point that you're impacting the next brother.
Hey, we have Big Bone from the Big Boneyard joining us. Hey, man.
One show to the next, huh?
Yeah, man.
All right, yeah.
For you, huh?
Yeah, trying to do it, man. Trying to do it.
Oh, we got Archbishop, 1%er, joining us here. We don't see his face yet, but hey, man, welcome to the show.
Give me about 60 seconds. I'll be right there with you. Give me a whole 60 seconds. I'll be right back.
All righty. Got to take that break. Hey, what's up, Archbishop 1%? We don't see your face.
Yeah, I'm hitting it over here. It's saying it's something doing something with the camera here.
You
probably unable to access camera. I don't know why.
Did you turn off the StreamYard from the last show?
Yeah, I think that could be. There we go.
There we go. Welcome, man. Tell us a little bit about you and your club you come from. Is this your first time on the show? We appreciate having you. Thank you.
Well, let's see. I'm Archbishop 1%er Outcast. I've been in the on the MC scene 22 years.
Oh, we lost your voice. You said 20 some years? Yeah, your voice is gone. What happened?
Just you can think of it. So
there you go. You're back. So we appreciate having you on the show. Tonight's subject is when clubs click up. That came up shortly, briefly in you guys' last discussion. So I decided to make that our discussion tonight. And I wanted to talk about, and I'll ask you first, Bone, when you see these brothers get together, and I say a lot of times it doesn't happen nefariously. Like in our club, in one of our chapters, we had this group called the Wrecking Crew. And these were just a bunch of brothers that had come on and prospected at the same time. So they had a huge kind of deal between them, and they were the Wrecking Crew of that time and blah, blah, blah. And, everybody loved them. They were great, but they never tried to click up and take over the club. So a lot of times when these groups start, they start really kind of innocently, but it's when they try to maneuver the club in such a way. And I like what you said, Archbishop, on Bones' show about the vote. So maybe we'll go with you first, because that original question was, what do you do if the clique makes rules that are against you? And I kind of like what you had to say. So if you wouldn't mind elaborating on that, Tom.
Well, I actually said it was a bad news on that. If you are under the gun to where the clique outnumbers you in votes, then you pretty much in for the long haul. Best thing for them to do, like I said, is the best thing is to get, even with any additions to bylaws, rule changes, stuff like that, everything has to be voted on. So a lot of times, a lot of these bylaws and amendments get put in because people don't fully understand what these bylaws mean. They just going along with whoever it is putting it out there. They're not really asking questions. So so a lot of times people get hosed over simply because they really didn't understand it. They voted on it because, this guy here, he's my friend, and he's not going to put no motion out that's bogus. But on the contrary, it's exactly what they do. So I think the biggest part of that is understanding exactly what these bylaws are, because these rules that you're putting out affects everybody in the chapter, not just the ones that you're going after. And if you have a clique that's basically making all these rules just to go out to individual people, you're going to have to eventually bring the fact that you're going to have to get rid of some of these people.
Yeah. Bone?
Man, if I'm excuse me, if I'm getting this right, we'll repeat the question because I want to address it properly.
So, we're talking about cliques in the club and how to avoid them and how to set them right. And, but the whole thing derived from a question that you got over on your channel 40 minutes ago about what do you do when these cliques that come together? What do you do when these cliques are making rules? This clique is making rules against you.
Gotcha.
And yeah, okay.
Well, I think well, two things. So one, and this is something that I struggle with a little bit. So the idea of cliques is not in and of itself inherently a bad thing. Archbishop and I have spoke about this on a number of occasions. Sometimes a clique is just some guys who have a mutual interest, a mutual understanding. Like a bunch of guys. Hey, they were all in the Marine Corps, they were all in the Navy, so they have that. So there's that. But when you've got these cats like you just described, who are, who have an agenda, and let's say their agenda is contrary to the legit benefit of the chapter, their agenda is focused on personal beefs as opposed to something that really has anything to do with the betterment of the club or individual in it. So how do you deal with that? The way that you did, and it's rough because, like Archbishop said, hey, if they got the numbers, you might just have to rock with that. You might just have to bite the bullet on that thing, but not always. Um, and this is where, and this is the thing that I hate. If a member of a club has to now become a freaking politician and start lobbying for his club to just be brothers. And I mean, no matter who you're talking to, whether that's your best friend or somebody you barely know, the benefit of the chapter, the benefit of your club is you're supposed to love your club more than you hate me, And that's the thing that some cats miss that. You're supposed to love your club more than you hate me. And that's the thing that you have got to figure out a way to preach and teach that to those people who wear that same patch on your back. There are occasions whereas in certain clubs there's a system that's put in place to whereas if you have a system of what do they call it, regress, you can go up line if you have to, but it's not the sort of thing that should be taken lightly. It's not the sort of thing that you should be doing all the time or any of that kind of stuff. This is something that should be reserved for the most, or so you'd assume it should be reserved for the most serious of occasions, because not everybody don't agree with everything. So not every time there's the clique said one thing, and hey, also you got to look at yourself and make sure that when you're talking about the clique is not just because you butthurt because a vote didn't go your way. You have to differentiate. Am I being spoiled just because they didn't agree with me on something, or is this is a problem? You have to differentiate between that because those are two completely different things. But let's say, for argument's sake, that it's just like he said. There's a group of folks, they don't like me and they're moving against me because it's all about them going at me and has nothing to do with the betterment of the club, right? In circumstances like that, Archbishop, what he said is A, bite the bullet, deal with it, and hang in there, stay in there long enough until you can make positive changes and upgrades and improvement. Or B, your next choice is go up line if you have to, and that should definitely be something that you ain't real quick to do. Other folks then, of course, the last thing is, hey, if it's really that bad, then lay down your rags, because if your club is that cancerous, lay down your rags and keep it moving. Find a better spot.
That's good points there. One thing to think about, the reality of the whole brotherhood thing is that, you're not going to love every brother, but at the minimum, you should respect that brother, and like, excuse me, like Archbishop was saying, it's like, you have bylaws, man, and the bylaws are living documents. So you should use that in the best interest of the club. You got to realize that the bylaws are set to protect the club and for the longevity of the club. So if you got issues in your club, you should be able to go to your bylaws and let that address those issues. And if they don't, then you know what? Maybe that's something you need to bring to the table. So listen, we need to amend our bylaws for situations like this so that going forward, if there's a disconnect, we can deal with these issues and do it in a way that the club will have to conform, because this is the rules that we live by.
Absolutely. So why did I do that? Come back. There we go. So next question I'll pose. Give me your top 3 clique busting tips. How do you bust a clique or not let it affect the club in a negative way? I'll start with you, Archbishop.
Well, let me go back by saying this. Now, a lot of times people take the whole clique thing and they make it negative. Clique isn't always negative.
Right.
So sometimes you may, have people that just, they associate better amongst a group of people than they do others. Okay, that happens. Now, but then you have the ones that actually make the word clique looks bad. The ones that's actually out to get somebody. Now, the only ways that you can technically get rid of them is like, okay, say for instance, he's a president. That's abuse of power. Another way is that if you actually have a clique that's actually in power and you manage to figure out a way to get them out, then of course you're not going to put them in the next administration. But what I would do is, like say for instance that you have that divide in the chapter, and you have this group and this group, and they don't see eye to eye. So basically, it's 2 different cliques. Now I've had to do this before. So when I was at the capacity that I could manage who there and where, I took one person from this one and one person from this side, and I gave them both the same job. Why? Because 9 times out of 10, a lot of people dislike other people, not because of what they've done to them, but because of what somebody else said to them. So I made these 2 people work together. Now, during the time that they're working together, they have to talk to each other. They have to be around each other. And by that, you tend to figure out people like, oh, I thought you was this way. Now I see that this ain't really what this person was about, because they basically took the word from somebody else. So that was my way of eliminating the actual clique in the chapter to where we was actually all on the same page. I put this one over here and put this one here. Okay, you 2 are the secretary, you 2 are the treasurer, you are the sergeant at arms, and you are the enforcer. And made these people work together. And by doing that, it opened up a whole new set of talks, because now it's not about what this person said about him. You got bird's eye view. You got to work with this man. So now you're gonna figure him out for who he really is.
Yeah, you really are kind of a bully, aren't you? That's what it sounds like. Hey, fellas, as much as, and I have got to tell you, I love being here, but I got a COC situation that I have to address with a mofo quickness, and I got to tell you, man, Archbishop, hang out, enjoy yourself, keep an eye on these 2 guys. But I want to tell you, man, thank you for having me here. Thank you all for the continued support, and I'm going to bow out gracefully. And when y'all get a chance, definitely please come check us out on the big Boneyard. Because we fuck, we mess with each other. See, I'm learning.
I heard y'all didn't even curse that much on your show. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, it's Archbishop. He's a cussing fool. He cusses like a Navy man. Y'all have that.
I told you that was because I was passionate about what we was talking about. That happens.
Oh, yo. Hey, look, man. Everybody have a great night.
Navy swipe in there. I felt all that Navy swipe from a Marine. Okay. Okay.
Right on. Hey, OG Weasel, Archbishop, Black Dragon, man, love y'all cats, man. I'll see y'all
Good,
soon.
man. I'm enjoying the show too.
Good luck handling your issue, man. And pray all is well. Take care.
Oh, yeah. You know
Yeah.
how that go.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Yeah,
fellas.
I'll get you up in a little bit.
All right, yeah, I'll be around, brother. I'll answer.
Okay. The question to you, Weasel.
Yeah, a lot of times, we got these cliques and it's not what we think it is. A lot of times on the outside, we see these cliques like Archbishop was saying. It's just the fact that they have these commons. So, it's okay to question that, to walk over there and like, yo, man, is everything good with y'all? Like, I just noticed something, just noticed a little bit too much of a closeness or a little division. So a lot of times you just have to identify what's really happening and you'd be amazed. It's just not that. It's just that people are just sometimes they get in their own world and they don't necessarily have an agenda. So you need to just, when you're addressing things, you see it for what it really is. And that just comes back to, you being able to talk to a brother versus just assuming, because a lot of times, we see things and unless you got more color in that picture, it's not always going to make sense to you. So that communication is always like a good thing to have with your bros. In the worst case scenario, when you have church, bring it to the floor. And you can't do no better than bringing it to the floor, because if you give your brothers an opportunity to address any concerns, like maybe you just need to understand what this brother's feeling. You just don't understand. So he needs that platform. Sometimes he won't come until he's called out. So, a lot of times you just got to create those opportunities. So, I mean, in my opinion, that's just kind of the way I would combat it and just kind of, the best interest of the club and trying to protect the brother at the same time. Just you didn't burn no bridges with that brother.
So for me, my top click busting ideas come from some things. So the first thing I'll say, in the words of the founder and father of the Mighty Black Sabbath Motorcycle Club Nation, Paul Perry, he always says it's a marathon, not a sprint. And so that goes directly in line with what Archbishop One Percenter just said. Sometimes that vote comes and you're just going to have to hang out. You're going to have to wait till the next administration or something like that. You were outvoted. And that goes back to it's a marathon, not a sprint. So my first thing is the idea that, so when I was in the Navy, it was really easy, kind of, because every four years, so depending on what your rate was, I was a submarine sailor, fire control. I shot torpedoes and nuclear weapons. And so I never really got to shoot a real nuclear weapon, but, we practiced with it. I'd like to think that I shot many fake ones. I'd like to think that, all you got to do is get it on the continent. If you can just get it there. So one thing about my rate was that, luckily for me, every 4 years, I'd go someplace else. So if you were under just a horrible leadership, it's not like a guy that's been on a job for 50 years and he got the same boss that he came in there with. That would have to be horrible. In the Navy, you would just change administrations. You'd go somewhere completely different every 4 years. Now, some guys didn't move except for every 7 years. Some guys moved every 2 years. In my situation, you went to sea for 4 years, and then you went to land for 4 years. So it was really kind of cool that way. So the motorcycle club is kind of that way too, in that the administration will change. In some motorcycle clubs, it's yearly. They vote every year. Some might be every couple of years. The regionals and stuff may last a little longer depending on your club, but you can, especially if you're in a club that's voting every year, you can hang out in this marathon and make a change. So the change is my second click buster. And that is, if you don't like the club you're in, recruit the club you want. You can get the kind of brothers you want in your club by simply being positive and proactive in who you want to bring to the club. Some guys don't do any of that sort of thing at all. They're not scouting for prospects. They're not They're not doing anything like that. Even football teams, even the greatest team in the world, the Dallas Cowboys, always
Threw that in there. All right.
Even they recruit, because if not, if they're not out there trying to make sure they got the best people. So my thing is, get the kind of people that have the kind of an open mind and can move in the ways. Look for the most professional, the most complete, the most together brothers you can bring. If you don't like the club you want, you can easily recruit the club if you don't like the club you're in, you can recruit the club that you want. And my third thing for clique busting is, you ain't fixing to take my motorcycle club from me. I don't give a damn. I'm not leaving. I'm here. So far, it's been for my entire adult life. I ain't going nowhere. So I'm here for the long haul. I'm absolutely going to be bringing the best kind of brothers that I can. And I absolutely understand that it is a journey. It is a marathon. It is the long distance 26-mile run, and the swim and the bike. It's a triathlon, and it's not the quick little 100-yard sprint. That's kind of how I feel about it.
I think a lot of them, Dragon, is first, before I say this, I'm happy to fact you're a Cowboys fan, and I'm a former Navy too, so I knew I liked you for some reason. Now, and to get back, when you was talking about, this being a marathon and not a sprint, and I tell people a lot of times, I say, I have quit this club 1,000,000 times.
Right.
And I've came back 1,000,001. The reason why I came back was because there was a couple things. Number one was that, I knew that by me walking away, not only did that make me a failure, but I'm failing all the other bros that's in this chapter that was somehow, some way depending on me because of what I did for that chapter, my contribute to that chapter. The second thing is that, quitting was never in my blood to do, even though, stuff pop up and you just like, oh man, this is just total BS. I'm not gonna do it. But you end up doing it anyway, especially when you're in a seat. You have no question. You are the most stressed person in that chapter, and people really don't realize the stuff that you have to go through in order to hold that seat. Third thing is, every time that I got to the point that I felt like I was done, something happened to rejuvenate my spirit to make me keep going. And it didn't take a lot. It was like I was sitting there waiting for one thing to happen. And it happened. And I was like, okay. And that pushed me a little further and pushed me a little further. So I think a lot of these people, when they get into these clubs, they expect these clubs to be happy and fun and joyful all the time, but that's not really what it is all the time. You have people that just want to go out and just party, and that's fine. You have some that's on the political side, and that's fine. But you gotta have, when you come into the club, you gotta have some kind of movement as to which way you're gonna go and what you're gonna do and what you're gonna get out of it, because you only get out of it what you put into it. So if you're just sitting here just waiting for everybody to just hand you this and like, oh man, we're gonna have the greatest time, and you ain't putting nothing in it, well, you got a long way. You're gonna be happy none of the time.
Right.
So I think a lot of it kind of boils down to, you got to think about first and foremost, what is it that you want out of that club, and secondly, what are you going to put in this club to make this happen?
Yeah. My gosh. Absolutely. OG?
Man, I think you mentally drained me tonight, man. The topic caught me off guard, man. So you've taken an element of thought away from me right now. So, but I definitely, enjoyed the topic. I wasn't prepared myself, but then again, this isn't a script. This is something that comes right from the heart. So, but you have depleted my thoughts tonight, bro. That's rare, man. We could talk all night, man.
Most of the topics as of late have been coming from you, so I was glad to be able to throw one in. I always call you up. What are we going to talk about?
Yeah, I got to slide down there. I've been on the road. I got to keep pushing on down that 85, 95 corridor. So I'm coming to see you, bro.
No, everybody's been at this for 2 hours a night, so I'm going to cut you guys some slack. Archbishop has been on for 2 hours. Actually, it was an hour and a half or more on Bone Show, and then here he is. Listen, I can't even tell you how much I appreciate you, Archbishop 1%er from the Mighty Outcast Motorcycle Club Nation. We appreciate you being on the show.
Okay.
And you have an open invitation to come here. OG Weasel, my brother, we've been doing this for too many years, bro.
It's been a minute, bro.
We've been doing this for I can't even count how many years now, not on one hand. So I appreciate you, man, always coming through at the last minute. And, you guys, I'm just thankful. I just want you to know I'm thankful for your wisdom, for these people out here. They listen to these shows. We didn't have this when we were coming up. And if we have real guys that can speak about the real stuff that's really going on out here, maybe we can preserve this lifestyle for a little longer, make it a little bit easier and a little bit better for everyone. So
that's what it's all about, bro. Do it for the culture, man.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate you guys. Archbishop 1%er, we appreciate you. OG Weasel, I appreciate you. I'm going to say good night to you guys and holler at me. I'll make sure I send my number to Bone for you, Archbishop 1%er. Call me anytime.
Yep, do that. Appreciate you. Appreciate you having me on the show. I can come back anytime, bro.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Good night. All right, fellas.
Man, we had just an exciting time. The folks that come on the show, we get amazing folks. Big Bone, we had full of a blank. Shaggy 1%er. All my hats off and thanks to Hollywood from Insane Throttle, who is the one who actually was the brainchild for this show. He actually put this show together for me in order to give me another platform. Hollywood did this for me, and I've continued it, so forth and so on. So he was with me long enough to get it up and running, and then he ran off and started doing his other things. But I always want to give him the thanks for looking out after me as many times as he has. Dibber in the Wind, who came on from overseas to help me get the show up and running from the UK. These are guys that don't always do this kind of format, this kind of thing, and they did it for me to help me give this to you all. So it's amazing and thankful. Listen, tomorrow, this weekend, if you guys want to hang out with the Mighty Black Sabbath Motorcycle Club Nation, my brothers in the Pensacola chapter are throwing their 4th annual anniversary in Pensacola. Now, Friday will be the meet and greet at the Vikings Motorcycle Club, 3017 Martin Luther King Drive from 10 p.m. until. And then Saturday night is the actual annual from 9 p.m. until. This will be at, so the Friday night will be at the Vikings Motorcycle Club. And then Saturday night, the annual will be at President Old School's farm, his ranch farm out there, where you guys may have seen. I stayed there about 2 weeks ago in my RV. So that was a blast. Ask a Black Sabbath for the address. Okay, so I'll put the address up in the link. I don't know why they didn't put the address on this flyer, but anyway, I'll put the address up in the description box below. Music provided by Rock Solid Entertainment, hookah, food trucks, and more. It costs $10 to get in with your colors, $15 without the colors. We will be there. You will see chapters of the Black Sabbath Nation there. I'll be there. If you bring your books over, I'll sign them. I'll probably have some books if you want to buy some down there or whatever. Sunday morning will be the farewell breakfast from 9 a.m. until the host hotel is the Super 8 by Wyndham, Pensacola, 8001 Lavelle Way, Pensacola, Florida, 32526. If you want to call somebody and ask questions, 877. No. That's if you want to call the hotel to book your room, 877-361-2508, 877-361-2508. The code is Black Sabbath. Rooms will be available until today. Y'all better get y'all's rooms tonight, man. For more information, call the vice president, SNAP, 850-525-2080, 850-525-2080. This is going to be September 9th through the 11th. That horrible day, September 11th, but we're going to be celebrating September 9th through September 11th, 2022, Black Sabbath, Pensacola, Florida Motorcycle Club, our chapter there of the mighty Black Sabbath Motorcycle Club Nation. So, man, hey, come and check us out and hang out with us. You'll be hanging out with, there'll be many, many chapters of the Black Sabbath there. Just hanging out and having a good time, having a blast. And we would just love to see you guys there. Tomorrow, I'm going to give away some free tickets to that event for anybody who wants to go. So if you're here on the Eastern Seaboard, there's no reason for you not to come down to the farm and hang out with us on Saturday night and come down and meet and greet with us on Friday night. Yeah! So better to overshadow tragedy with joy, says Proud Fringe Minority. And we absolutely would appreciate seeing you guys there. So anyway, that's my hour and 17 minutes. Whew. Listen, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Black Dragon. We want to see you there Friday and Saturday night down in Pensacola. Come hang out with us. Get on your motorcycle, ride down. We're going to party. We're going to have a great big bonfire. We're going to be at the farm with the chickens and things. And it's just going to be a blast. So come and hang out with us down there in Pensacola. That's my 2 cents, folks. Love to hear your 2 cents in the comment section below. I'm Black Dragon. Thanks for tuning in. And get skinny. Prepare yourself to take the helm as president of your mighty motorcycle club by delving into the pages of Black Dragon's newest book, The President's Bible, Chronicle 1, Principles of Motorcycle Club Leadership. There you will learn to advance your skills in applying the 14 scientific principles of leadership similar to those taught to officers in the United States Naval Service. Available in hardcover, paperback, and ebook. Get yours today on Amazon, Kindle, or order it at your local bookstore. Order your autographed copy from blackdragonsgear.com. Be the best motorcycle club president you can be. Get the book.
Get Black Dragon's first book, The Prospect's Bible, to learn how to join a motorcycle club. It has been an Amazon #1 bestseller for the past 7 years and is required reading for over 3,000 motorcycle clubs worldwide. This book is a must-have for new people venturing onto the motorcycle club set. It will teach you how to prepare yourself for service to the motorcycle club nation and show you how to qualify a motorcycle club to be worthy of your service. Available on Amazon, Kindle, and for order at your local bookstore. Get your autographed copy at blackdragonsgear.com. Be the best motorcycle club prospect you can be. Get the book.
You are fake news.
Black Dragon Biker News Network. Biker news you can trust.
Biker news you can trust.
Biker news you can trust. Biker news you can trust.